We're live. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Super Divorce SUPERCAST. Again, it's been a little while. SUPERCAST is quite infrequent these days, isn't it? That's just because I am staying very busy. Very, very busy these days. Lots to do, lots going on. But, I'm not alone in that, I'm sure. Sure that many of you out there, if there are many of you listening, I don't know. I guess we'll see. You know what? It'll be a good indicator of my viewership to see if it's stood the test of time here without me being a daily streamer the way that I was for several months there. I was doing a lot of videos. I was doing one a day. And we're not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. It just, it got to be too much. It's a little too much to do. Not that I didn't like doing it, but as I've mentioned previously, there is a lot that I have to get done to prepare for the next Super Divorce album. Me all by my lonesome here, now that I am a solo act. Yes, I'm a solo act now. If you've been around for some time, you might recall that Super Divorce was once a synth pop duo. And now Super Divorce is a synth pop solo act, as well as occasional podcast podcast guy. So what I'm doing right now, while I'm just kind of kicking things off here, is I'm actually checking up on the Super Divorce YouTube channel, and so far I don't see this. Oh, here we go. I see it live now. Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that we were actually able to go live here. Yeah, and we are live. Okay, so that's good. That's something good. In the I don't know if they did this before or after the previous episode of the SUPERCAST, but at some point YouTube decided that it would be a fun thing to do to go ahead and take away the ability of channels with less than 1,000 subscribers to be able to live stream from a mobile device. That is something that can no longer be done. You can't stream live from a telephone, as we used to call them. You can't stream live from smartphones. You can't stream live from a tablet. Luckily, I have a nice computer set up here in my office with a webcam that I'm not using because I'm treating this more like a radio program. It's a podcast. I'm trying to keep with the podcast condition and not make this too dependent on live video, because the Super Divorce SUPERCAST has typically, throughout its history, been about the spoken word. And we're going to keep going with that. Hey, it's Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is here. It's been a while since I've talked to Obi-Wan. It's been a while since I've talked to any of my YouTube friends. Good to see you, Obi-Wan. Thank you for being here. Mr. Wrench is here. Be nice, or else he will smack that wrench right upside your head. He'll take care of you. He is a no-nonsense guy, just like the real Obi-Wan. Now, what I was saying is that, it's not as easy to stream these days as well. And this is kind of a bummer, too, because something that's come up is I've had moments where I've been out and about, and the thoughts occurred to me like, oh, this might be interesting to go live right now. And then I remember in an instant, oh, I can't go live anymore because I only have 332 subscribers. So YouTube doesn't think that my channel is good enough for some reason. I don't understand why that rule was put into place exactly, but no one knows why YouTube does any of the things they do. They like to play these little games with content creators. There's all this stuff going on with Steven Crowder right now, demonetizing, deplatforming people that they don't like, who aren't necessarily breaking any rules. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. There was a time when I was trying to sort of toe the line, and I was like, maybe I should try to adhere to these rules so that my channel doesn't get taken down, or so we can eventually build up to getting monetized. Because I put a lot of work into this channel, so I tried to keep it fairly PG here. These days, I'm just kind of like, what, fuck it. Because they're taking people down, they're demonetizing channels that have done incredibly well and put in a lot of work. People who have tried to stay within the YouTube guidelines are getting they're getting the carpet pulled out from under them, so to speak. And not a magic carpet. It's not the magic carpet. It's not going to swoop back under and pick them up. It's not a joke. They're doing this to people. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that they can sustain it. You can't treat people that way forever and expect your brand to thrive. I think that they kind of see themselves as being this juggernaut. They think that there's never been anything quite like YouTube, and there really hasn't. But that doesn't mean that something else can't come along, and something else will come along, I believe. Thank you, Obi-Wan. Maybe some more people will join in. So, eventually something else will come along if YouTube continues this trend, and I think they're going to. I don't see it stopping. I don't see them sort of doing a 180 and be like, you know what, after all, we really do support free speech, and we really want to allow people to express themselves, and we're not going to try and push our own agenda. No, they're not going to do that. It's going to take YouTube collapsing and something else or multiple other options coming up. I think that's what's going to happen. That's what I would prognosticate, is that I don't know, 5 years from now, maybe between 5 and 10 years from now, is that the landscape of social media will look very different than it does today. I don't think that the way things are laid out right now is sustainable. It's just not going to hold. Alternatives will pop up, and we might see something like a reversion back to the days of like MySpace. Not saying that MySpace is going to come back, but something like that, where the individuals have quite a bit more control over what happens on their page, what they see on their page, where they're not being bombarded by ads all the time. Ads pop up in the strangest places now. They're doing ads not just in your feed now, not just not on the sidebar, but I saw them experimenting with ads like in Messenger and such, and it's just like that, on top of the fact that people feel like their opinions and their voices are being stifled on these platforms. It's just not going to hold up forever. So I'd say that my attitude towards YouTube right now is that I will continue to use it from time to time, but there was a period where I thought that maybe this was going to be the future of how I would connect with people. That's what I was hoping. I don't know if that's really a viable option at this point, and I don't know if creators should put all their eggs in that basket. We have to figure out a way to move beyond YouTube, to move beyond Facebook, because I think that the same thing that happened. I think that the same thing is going to happen to YouTube that happened to Facebook, where for a moment it was an incredible place to promote your brand, to promote your music, or whatever, your comedy, anything, a new book that you're writing. But they've made it so hostile towards creators because they are so greedy. And I'm not saying that as someone who thinks that, look, I'm a red-blooded capitalist, so, but that doesn't mean that within that system, people can't still be greedy. They can. And what happens when they become overly greedy is that I think you end up driving people away. And that's what happened to me. For a period of time, I was spending quite a bit of money advertising on Facebook, and I built up quite a large number of fans on Facebook. And I thought that by doing that, then my posts that I would put up advertising Super Divorce would be seen by the people that I'd paid to bring into the fold. The problem is they started kind of putting a gate on how many of your followers would see your posts unless you paid to boost each individual post. And it didn't matter. It wasn't like a percentage of the number of people who follow you got to see it. It was like the gate would be cut off at like between 10 to 30 people. And 10 to 30 people would see your post, whether you had 100 followers or whether you had 100,000. It didn't matter. It wasn't like they took into consideration how much work you had put into your page. They didn't take into consideration how much money you had spent on advertising to procure the number of followers you had. It was like a regular post. When you hit submit, if you've not chosen to boost it, it's going to be seen by between like 10 and 30 people, something like that. And the same holds true for a page with 40 followers as it does for a page with 1 million. Now, the only difference there is that the person, the brand with 1 million followers is probably having people come and check their page out more often, maybe taking the initiative to do so on their own as opposed to waiting for a post to pop up in their feed. But, for someone like me, I built up our Facebook page to like 15,000. And then it was like, unless I paid to boost every post, you're getting, 30 people saw that one, sometimes less. And so I just decided to stop putting money into that because it was like, it was like this kind of loot crate or loot box mentality. The same type of thing where it's just like they keep wanting more and more from you, and they don't take into consideration how much you've already given them. There's no reward for that. So it's like, well, I'm going to choose not to continue playing into that system. And that's what I've done there. And so I think a lot of people feel the same way. And a lot of creators ended up leaving Facebook behind. I mean, not to the point where they delete their pages, but they just don't bother with it much anymore because it's not a good place to interact with people. So, and my wife, Jessie, here is in the chat, and she told me she didn't get an alert when I went live. Well, of course not. See, there's another thing. It's like you put in the work to get people to subscribe to you on YouTube, and then it's just the same song and dance with so many different channels. Your followers don't get the alerts, even when they have taken that step of bonging the gong, as we say here, to hit that little notification bell. It's like people do it and then they still don't get notified when this channel goes live. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Why should I bother? It really it kind of sours the whole experience. Not that it's not fun to make videos. It is. I enjoy making videos. That's why I made a video every day. I made a point of making a video every single day for months. I mean, it had to have been like 6 months or so where I maybe missed one day. And then, because of ramping up to begin the process of writing for this new album, it's just not something that I could prioritize, especially with the way YouTube's going. And a lot of stuff that the kinds of videos that really get the clicks and stuff. It's not the stuff that I was making. So kind of put the YouTube on the back burner, and then this stuff, all these little ticky-tack politics that they're playing, these little games they play with their creators, it really doesn't make you want to jump back in and try to achieve anything on this platform. Because even if you do, at any moment, with no explanation and with no notice, your entire channel could be taken down, or all of the videos that were doing well for you can be demonetized if you are a larger channel. Of course, in my case now, that doesn't really matter, because I don't have 1,000 subscribers. So I couldn't even get monetized until I reached that point. So no videos that I make until I'm monetized are going to have an opportunity to make me any money, which is why I've kind of considered the guidelines for monetization and have decided to say fuck it, because I don't care. I'm not going to put the work in to try to achieve any sort of notoriety or ultimate success on this platform, when what I see happening to other content creators is them getting treated unfairly, and them having their work nullified just because they don't sort of toe the line. Not towing the line of guidelines, but towing the line of the types of political and social opinions that YouTube wants to propagate. So I don't care anymore. And so it's kind of a free-for-all now, I suppose. Kind of the old Wild West days of the Super Divorce Supercast. If you go back and listen to old episodes, it was not PG. If you got used to it being PG, just be warned. I'm not saying it's going to be, I'm not going to turn it into a porn show. We're not going to be talking about porno films. Not going to be talking about, gratuitous sex and nasty things just to talk about them. But if something crosses my mind and I feel like talking about it, if I get a little heated when I'm discussing something, I won't have to censor myself. I can say something like, fuck that shit, man. It's fucking bullshit. Fuck. I can do that now. Because I'm not trying to play their games. I don't recommend anyone try to play their games, because it's probably not going to work. So you might as well have a good time. Let me see. Let me just check out the chat here real quick. Hey, Hallmark Channel Jeremy is here. What's up? Hallmark Channel Jeremy has given me a thumbs down. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. Hallmark Channel Jeremy, a good... Not even a little what? Oh, maybe... I'm not sure. I'll have to see. Hallmark Channel Jeremy is commenting right now in the live chat. He's given a thumbs down, and he said, not even a little? I don't know what he wants a little of. What do you want a little of, Hallmark Channel Jeremy? And then I'll tell you if we can have just a little. I'll let you know. So, all right. That's a little bit about the lay of the land on YouTube. I'm sure that many of you are already very familiar with how things are going here. Obi-Wan says, oh, well, you've complained long and hard about it for a long time. It's still a good platform, even if you don't make money. That's what Obi-Wan just wrote in the chat, and I would say that that's debatable. I really do say it's debatable, the idea that it's a good platform, even if you don't make money. Because it's not that you don't... it's not only that they've taken the ability of creators, or taken away the opportunity for creators to make money in many cases. They're taking down entire videos without warning. and then they could also just delete your channel with no warning. So it's like, is it a good platform? I think the idea of it's great. What it used to be was fantastic, but I think it seems like things are really heating up. There seems to be this advance towards whatever their agenda is, and pushing everyone who's not in line with sort of the progressive ideals. I think they're trying to push them off of YouTube. I think that's where they're headed. I don't know how fast that's going to happen, but that's where even if it does, I'm saying eventually something else will pop up, or other competitors will pop up. And I think at some point in the future, we'll look back on YouTube the way we look back at MySpace. It'll be like they blew it. They could have lasted for as long as they wanted to, but they chose to take a side in the sort of culture war, if you will, and ended up ruining them. I think that's probably what will happen. So I don't think I'm just I don't like to think that I'm just bitching about nothing here. I really, especially, you have to look at this from the point of view of someone who's doing this full time, maybe. You'd have to feel worried if you didn't have like another avenue. Because really, I'm thinking of the Steven Crowder situation right now, because that's been pretty hot the past few days. His channel getting completely demonetized. I mean, he's on Blaze TV, and they've got Mug Club. So they've got all this support that kind of comes from another channel. Sorry, bad choice of words. That could be confusing. From another source. Their Louder with Crowder show can still be seen on another platform that is basically like a conservative run platform. So they're not necessarily at risk of something like that happening to them there. That's a private streaming service that people pay a subscription for, and then they get to watch all the videos on it. So he's making money that way. He doesn't have to rely on YouTube. But you can imagine someone else who's in his position, who might have a following that's kind of creeping up towards his level, and if they've not taken steps to secure that sort of that alternative source where people can stream videos, where people can support them, maybe with a monthly subscription or something. And I'm not talking about Patreon, because that's compromised as well, unfortunately. So what creators need to do, I think, is treat YouTube like a way to become acquainted with an audience. And then if they're doing something like making videos for a living, if that's like their bread and butter, what they should be doing is trying to set up a way where they funnel their fans from YouTube over to that alternative platform that may be like just an app for their channel. Something like that, where people can download it and then maybe pay a subscription fee, and then they've got it right there. And it's like a one-on-one connection. There's not going to be like a third party who steps in and severs that connection. So that's what I would be worried about if I were a creator totally focused on YouTube, doing well, making money on YouTube. My mind would be on finding a way to get my audience off of YouTube and onto another personalized platform, if you will. I think that is something that everyone needs to be probably focused on and trying to make happen. So Kay is here. Kay said, "Hey, hi, hello, on stream right now." What's up, Kay? K period. I still don't know what Hallmark Channel Jeremy wanted a little of. I'm not sure still. I don't know. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Okay. Here's something, guys. So Oh, I was going to talk about a pretty cool little project that I wanted to stream that I can't now. That is, I don't know if you've seen this, but there is a Stranger Things Lego set. And we had such a fun time putting together the Voltron Lego set on this channel. I was like, that would be really cool to put together the Stranger Things Lego set. I went out with my son a couple weeks ago, and we picked that up. It's a huge set, by the way. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's like $200. So if you're considering it, perhaps you think it would be worth your money. I think it would be. I haven't built it yet. That's what I was going to say, though. I had the thought when I was walking out of the mall with it. I was like, this would be cool. This would be pretty cool to put together. But you know what? When we put together the Voltron set in the well-lit area of my home, down in the dining room, I used my phone to stream all that. Well, I can't do that anymore. You know, I would basically have to, I'd have to like take my entire computer setup down into my downstairs, and that's too much of a pain in the ass, especially considering how long it would probably take to put that thing together. I don't know. I don't know if it's as many pieces as the Voltron set that we did, but it's a very large set, and it would probably take, at least a week or two, maybe, of streams to put that thing together. And I wouldn't want to leave my computer set up in my dining room for that amount of time. And then I can't do it in my office because the lighting in here is just god awful. It would be that'd be terrible. No one would want to watch that. So, looking back at the chat here, In has come in and says, "Woohoo! Woohoo! Nice to see you, In. Thanks for dropping by." Shellback, Hallmark Channel Jeremy, he says, he said it. It's right there. Well, here's what I've got from you. I'm looking back up through the chat, Hallmark Channel Jeremy. I see a thumbs down, and then a comment that says, "not even a little." And then the next comment from you says, "no, not thumbs down for you." So I still don't see what what it would be, what you were talking about. I see some of your comments, but I don't see what you wanted a little of. That's nowhere to be found. That particular comment did not reach me, Hallmark Channel Jeremy. I don't know what happened. Just said you can borrow one of my laptops, you dingus. What, for streaming the Legos? I didn't think about that. That might be good. I really wasn't considering that. Because now you're always on your my wife's always on her iPad or one of these tablets. I wasn't thinking about an actual laptop. Maybe that would be an option. Maybe we could do that. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to see if we can come up with a decent setup where that might work. That's a possibility. We might be able to make that happen. Okay. So maybe we figured something out there. So maybe we will come back with another Lego set. Because you know what? Not only do I have the Stranger Things Lego set, but I have also pre-ordered the Castle Grayskull Mega Construct set. And I believe that's coming in either late this month or sometime next month. I can't remember the release date, but I pre-ordered that at GameStop. I need to go and put some money on it so I don't have to pay off the whole thing when it comes in. But I have that coming, and that would be really cool to put together. That would be good stream fodder, I think. People might like to see that one built. So Jess said she's always playing Candy Crush Saga on her iPad. Yuck. It's disgusting. should be ashamed of yourself. You casual. So here's something, guys. I can do this. Recently, I picked up a few compact discs. Like I said, I'm in the process of... I don't even know if I would call it the beginning stages of writing for the next album. But it's like it's like pre-alpha. I'm kind of brainstorming a lot of things. I'm getting a lot of ideas together and getting a sort of I'm in this like brainstorming phase where I'm just kind of reaching out with my mind tendrils and trying to tap into a bunch of different sources, drawing inspiration from a bunch of different things to really make the next album something amazing. And there's more to it than just the music, but as far as the music goes, I've been trying to judiciously dive into to new things to sort of capture a feeling that I have in mind. And that doesn't mean that the things that I am drawing inspiration from, I'm not necessarily going to copy. I'm not going to say that anything I share with you here is going to be representative of what the next Super Divorce album is going to sound like exactly. But just, I thought I would share with you a few of the purchases that I made recently to sort of get the noodle going, to sort of spark some inspiration and some creativity. So not only can I tell you about the CDs that I purchased, I can also play you a little snippet of each one, because I don't care about this video getting demonetized. I'm going to play you a little snippet of 3 CDs that I've just picked up recently, and maybe something that you hear will strike your fancy, inspire you to perhaps check it out on your own. I think that could be something good to do. Hey, JP is here. JP, how are you, damn it? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for being here. Jess said the Candy Crush Saga. That's a joke. She was joking. I know you don't really play Candy Crush Saga. I don't think you do, unless you're saying it's a joke because you really do behind my back and you're too afraid to admit it. If you do, you can tell me. I won't be too upset. It's okay. I won't shame you. I won't casual shame you for playing Candy Crush Saga if you really do. In says, question: if I put a quarter in your ear, will you sing? 10 speed, playing my background headspace. You want to put a quarter in my ear, will I sing? I'm not going to sing right now. That'd be silly. No one wants to hear me sing on the podcast. It's not a live. I mean, it's not a live performance show. That'd be totally self-indulgent. It'd be even more self-indulgent than doing a solo podcast. I can't sing. Not right now. I can't do that. I'm sorry, N. I cannot do that. It would be too silly. Too silly. I'm all about silliness, okay? I enjoy being silly in certain respects, but that's a kind of silly that I cannot do. I cannot serenade you right now. My apologies. Thank you for asking, though. I appreciate you being forthright. I appreciate you asking. I do. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you would want me to sing to you, but I just can't right now. I just can't bring myself to do it. Maybe if I were a better man. Not right now. I can't. I just can't do it. Now Hallmark Channel Jeremy wants me to sing for N. I can't sing for anyone right now. It's not something that's going to happen. Okay? You have to respect my decision. You have to respect my autonomy. All right? You can't try and pressure me into this. It's not fair. It is not fair. Kay is actually here now in the chat. Good to have you here. So what I was going to do, all right, is I was going to play you a little selection from each of these 3 compact discs that I've just picked up recently. The first one is a band called Cassiopeia, and this is from an album called Mint Jams. I'm going to play this in the background here, and I think it... How about that? See if you can hear this. This is a Japanese group. Thing I like about getting Japanese CDs, when you order them from Japan, you know, they have this cool little paper strip on the side with writing, you know, and then the barcode. It's a nice little touch. I like that. This is called Mint Jams. This album is Mint Jams. You should look it up. Kay says elevator vibes. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. I love it. It reminds me of the music that they used to play at this grocery store, a local grocery store called Woody's in West Carrollton, where I grew up. And they always played music like this, and I love it. This album, I'm trying to see. Looks like this came out in '82. Mint Jams, man. Okay. Thomas Gilkey is here. Jeremy says, welcome to your tri-state area smooth jazz station. Yeah, you know, it's cool stuff. How's the mix, guys? You like the mix? Are we good here? I want to make sure that I'm loud enough and the music's not overpowering me as I'm taking you through this little tune here, through this ditty. You know, in the old days, I would have been like, oh, you guys got to check out Cassiopeia because it's real, they got good vibes, man. But I can't play it for you because I don't want to get the video demonetized. Well, now that I don't care, I can fucking play it for you. Fucking playing you the Mint Jams. It is fucking minty, right? I'm just going to throw some fucks in tonight because I generally in the past haven't done that. Because I've been trying to play YouTube rules. In says, I'm interested to see what they will turn it into. Bet it would be sweet. Are you talking about me? Are you interested to see what I do with this inspiration? Obi-Wan in the chat says he's finished driving. JP is able to live stream his drive to work sometimes by setting a stream up on his PC and joining from his phone. Huh. And Obi-Wan's digging the tunes. I'm glad you guys are digging these tunes. Again, if you would like to listen to this album yourself, or maybe pick up a copy on compact disc like I did, just search Mint Jams. The full album is on YouTube. That's where I'm streaming this from. You can hear it right now. That's your Mint Jams. So, yeah, thank you for enjoying Mint Jams there. Yeah. Okay. So that's one thing that I've just procured recently. Hold on, where I see Thomas Gilkey. The Gray March is here. We've got a nice little group going. Who said, I see someone in the chat was saying hello to Tim. Thomas Gilkey says this is actually some pretty good music. Well, you might enjoy this next one as well. What I'm going to play you next is another album that I picked up. I had an Amazon gift card. I actually had 3 of them. And I was like, you know what? I want to buy some CDs. I'm going to get ahead of the curve here because I feel like it's really cool for everyone to buy vinyl and to buy cassette tapes again. But I'm going back and I'm buying up all the cool CDs right now, because I think that's going to be next. Maybe within the next 2 years or so, CDs are going to be retro enough that they're really cool again. So I'm sort of getting ahead of the game while people still aren't really thinking about CDs, and I'm trying to pick up all these compact discs that people are going to be paying big bucks for in a few years. Because I still love CDs. I still have a nice CD collection. I will still listen to CDs in my car. And what's cool about CDs is that, you can still throw them into the old disk drive and put the tunes on your computer and then load those up onto your MP3 player of choice, and you're all set. As cool as cassette tapes look, and as cool as vinyl records look, they're nice collector's items. I buy those things too, but the process of, say, getting a vinyl record or a cassette tape transferred over to your computer, to your hard drive, that's much more complicated than moving the songs from a CD onto your computer to have digitally. So, like I said, I'm getting ahead of the game here, and what we're doing here is we're going to listen to a cut. We're going to listen to a cut from Masayoshi Takanaka. There we go. Masayoshi Takanaka. The Rainbow Goblins. Look this up too. This has really cool artwork. I love the artwork on the cover of this one. You got to check it out. We're going to be listening to, which tune do I have queued up here? This is going to be Once Upon a Song. This is actually a concept album, and there's like a narrator that will sort of jump in and kind of give you the lay of the land story-wise as this record goes on. I'm going to skip past the prologue, so we're not going to listen to the narrator, but it's kind of cool to know that this is actually it's a concept album. It reminds me when I listen to it of the old Lord of the Rings animated film, the one from, I believe, the 70s is when that came out. So here we go. I'm going to throw this on for you. Here we are. There you are. Got it going okay? Once Upon a Song from Masayoshi Takanaka's The Rainbow Goblins. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about this one. I'll look back through the comments here from the past few minutes, see what's been going on. In responding to oops, hold on, let me check this out here. Oh yeah, In thinks that I'll be able to weave the inspiration taken from these tunes into something cool on the next Super Divorce album. And I hope that I can. I really do. I really want the next album to be something special. That's my plan. I can give you guys a little bit of inside dirt, something pretty cool about the next album. One thing I do know about it, it's going to be the very first time in my musical career that I'm actually working with my dad on a musical project. I have asked my father to produce the next Super Divorce album. So, I mean, he's like a genius. He is a musical genius. He's toured the world. It's what he's done for a living for the past close to 40 years now. So, it's quite something. It's going to be quite an honor to actually be with him in the studio putting this next album together. Yeah, I really think it's going to be something you guys, I don't know if you're going to be ready for it. I don't know if you're going to know what to expect. Even me playing this stuff for you and kind of updating you as we go along, yeah, it's going to be cool. So yes, my father, Randy Villars, will be producing the next album along with me, and yeah. Coming up, we're going to be getting together soon and sort of just brainstorming, getting some ideas together, getting a general vision of where things are going to be headed. It's going to be pretty damn neat. So I'm enthused. I'm quite enthused. I'm quite happy about that development. Hallmark Channel Jeremy says, I love the tunes and love Obi-Wan's healer. And the Gray March says, just missing caller dedications. Yeah, that's something. Does anyone have any dedications, any shout outs? You guys have anyone that you want me to shout out for you? Any messages you'd like delivered over the airwaves tonight? If so, feel free to drop that in the comments there and let me know. Maybe a long lost lover, a missed connection, maybe a family member you haven't talked to in a long time that you just want to say hi to. Let them know you're doing okay. Drop that in the comments below and let me know, and I'll see what I can do about getting that dedication out there for you guys. Obi-Wan had asked in the chat if I have a Laserdisc player yet. I do not. Because I only have like the one Laserdisc. I think if I had maybe 10 actual Laserdisc films, then I might spring for a Laserdisc player. A nice one. You know, it's because you want to make sure you get a good working one. A while back, I found 2 Betamax players at the local Goodwill, and I brought them home, and I was so excited, but neither one of them worked. It was kind of a bummer. I got the players, and then I drove to a secondhand store like 40 minutes away because they had, I knew that they sold beta tapes there. And I went out and I bought a few and I brought them home, and neither player would function properly. One of them kind of worked. The other one just wouldn't play at all. Goblin. Oh, there we go. So that was the Masayoshi Takanaka, the Rainbow Goblins. I'm going to play another song here in just a minute. But yeah, like I was saying, if you buy an old media player, you want to make sure you get a good one. Might cost a little bit more, but it is quite disappointing to get something like that home and to realize that you just wasted your time and money. Especially, something else that bothered me about that experience with the Betamax players was how awesome they looked. I mean, they were in fantastic shape. Looked like they'd been taken care of, but for some reason, it was just like straight fuzz on one of them. Just would not play the tape. And then the other one, I was able to dial it in to kind of get a picture, but not to the point where it'd be worth sitting down and watching a movie. It was like, trying to tune in to like the old pay-per-view porn channels. See, there I was talking a lot. There's some porn. I said we wouldn't talk about a bunch of porn. There's a little bit of porn. When you try and tune into the scramblies, for me it was channel 65 back in the day. And I remember you like flip it on, and one time it came in like crystal clear for like 10 seconds. And there was like a moment of jubilation followed by a moment of dread. Because in my 12, 13-year-old mind, I didn't know how pay-per-view worked. I thought that maybe I had left it on for too long, and the signal was going to come through, and that would somehow trigger us getting charged for a porn movie on our next cable bill. And so I turned it off. I was like, it was like before it scrambled again, I got rid of it because I didn't know what was going to happen. It frightened me so much. It was like, it's fine. I'll just wait. I'll wait a few hours, and then I'll turn on HBO After Dark or something. But that was it was scary. You know, it was like be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And I got it, and then I didn't want it anymore because I didn't know what was going to happen. Obi-Wan says, don't forget to smash the likey button, everyone. Please don't forget to do that. Even if this channel goes nowhere, you know, it's still a nice thing to do. It's still cool to see that people have liked your video. Get that constructive feedback. It's good. Lets you know you're not totally wasting your time when people like something that you've done. I'm not out here fishing for likes, so to speak, but you know, if I didn't hope that people liked my ramblings, you know, then I wouldn't bother setting up a microphone and doing this. I hope people like it. I hope people are somewhat entertained. Damn it, buffering. You got buffering? Hallmark Channel Jeremy is saying there's buffering. I hope that's not a problem with the connection. I haven't noticed any issues here on my end. The little connection box in OBS, the software I use to stream, it's green, which means that we have a good stable connection, so I don't think we should have any issues. Perhaps that is Hallmark Channel Jeremy's connection, and none of us should be concerned about that. I hope that Hallmark Channel Jeremy finds a nice stable connection himself very soon, so that he is not stuck in the hell of buffering. So here's something else I'm going to play for you guys. This is a guitar player who I have stumbled upon as of just about 3 months ago, and he has quickly become my favorite guitar player of all time. His name is Jason Becker. This album that I'm going to play you a selection from is called Perpetual Burn. And I'm going to play a little bit of track 1, which is called Altitudes. Jason Becker. You guys got to check this video out. If you go on YouTube and look up Jason Becker Serrana, that's Serrana, arpeggios, Serrana arpeggios. Watch him play this selection. It is amazing, and it consists basically of sweep picking. If you're not familiar with sweep picking, it is sweep, like you're sweeping the floor, but you're sweeping the strings on the guitar. It's basically where, if you watch someone do it, it looks very easy in a way, because the picking hand just kind of moves straight down the strings in one motion and then back up in another, and then straight down and back up. You're not kind of jumping from string to string and making a bunch of like super articulate movements with your pick. It's kind of, like I said, like the name suggests, sweeping. You're doing sweeping motions with your picking hand in kind of a very smooth and elegant way. Meanwhile, as you're sweeping across the strings, your left hand is the one that's kind of moving rapidly, doing all the hard work, making sure to be on the string just as the pick passes over it, kind of going up and down, so on. But the sound of it is very fluid. It produces a very fluid and, like I said, kind of a very elegant sound when people are sweep picking. And it's arguably one of the hardest things to do as a guitar player. So if you can learn to sweep pick at a high level, you can probably learn to do just about everything. And I play guitar on and off and tinkered around here and there for years now, but I've never really taken it upon myself to get really good. You know, that's because I've always had other guitar players around me in bands that I've been in. So my expertise has always been vocals. It's like we get the song written as a band, and then it's sort of passed off to me, and then I would come up with the melodies, and then I would come up with the lyrics and all that kind of jazz. But it was never my job to write the guitar parts or the sort of the bone-like structures of songs until Super Divorce became a two-piece. And then I did do a little bit of writing on guitar for action figures, mostly on acoustic. But that was more just messing around with chords and kind of, very, very beginner type stuff. Very basic shit as far as guitar playing goes. Just coming up with, a chord structure, coming up with a verse and a chorus and melodies and stuff like that. But, in the spirit of wanting this next album to be something special, I want to be able to write at a high level, not just vocally and not just on keys or programming on the computer, but I want to be able to play the instruments on the next album too. And so I've been busting my ass, inspired quite a bit by Jason Becker's playing. And it is a gargantuan task, I'm not going to lie. I've been trying to learn the Serrana arpeggios now for about 2 months, practicing every single day, usually for at least an hour or two. And I've made some amazing progress. I mean, when I first sat down, I took video. So at some point, I don't know exactly how long it's going to be. I'm shooting for, it seems out of the realm of possibilities, but I'm shooting for the end of June to be able to play this thing the way that I want to. But when I first sat down to play it, I couldn't at all. It was painful. It was the hardest thing I've ever tried to do on guitar, by far. Just learning this piece was quite a task. Just memorizing the fingerings and all the notes involved, that took me about 3 weeks. And then once I had things memorized, then it was just like very slowly working through it to the point where I could play it and have it sound anything like music. I'm getting much better now. I think it's a far cry from where I started, no question. But I've still got a long way to go before I could do it at the level that I want to. Anyhow, with that, I will play you a little bit of Jason Becker's music from his album Perpetual Burn. Another thing I'll mention about Jason Becker is, tragically, at some point in the 90s, I think it was like the mid to late 90s, I think he developed ALS, Lou Gehrig syndrome. And so he's this incredible guitar player. Could have been, I would argue that he is among the greats, but because his career was cut short, he didn't have an opportunity to sort of ascend to the level of some of the other guitar gods that everyone knows the name of. But within the guitar player community, like die-hard guitar people know Jason Becker, and they know how awesome he was and what he could have done. And it's pretty inspiring because he didn't hide away. He didn't let his illness dictate the trajectory of his life completely. His dad actually helped him devise a way that he could continue to communicate, even though he's paralyzed, basically from the neck down, and he can't speak anymore. He came up with a way of communicating using like eye movements. And just by having that form of communication, he's released new albums over the years, even though he's wheelchair bound. He can't move. But he's continued to work. He's continued to compose music, and obviously, other musicians have to play his music now, but he is continuing to release albums to this day as a composer, and he actually has an online guitar course that he helped put together with another one of his friends who kind of does the talking for Jason, but his buddy is sort of telling everyone Jason's methods and the things that he used to do when he was practicing, and kind of lays out his entire approach to guitar playing. And that's something else that I've just started in on myself. So it's really cool. Fantastic stuff. Jason Becker. So hopefully you guys will check him out too. And hopefully you will enjoy this track that I'm going to play. This is, I'm going to jump in a little bit after the intro here on Jason Becker's Perpetual Burn, track 1, Altitudes. There you go. There we are. So let me look over here. Any comments coming through? Kay said, or hold on, Nex is here. Hello, Nex. Nex also says, hail Obi-Wan. We should all hail Obi-Wan. The lone wrench in here right now, I believe, because I don't think my wife is still listening. Maybe she is. Jess, you still here? Kay said, I have never got good at guitar. I've tried, but never really had lessons. It was made to do piano instead. Still fun, but eh. But I'm trying to up my keyboard game as well. Like I said, I'm really trying to make sure that this album is like on another level of competence. Switching from being like in a 4-piece post-hardcore band where I was just kind of singing and screaming, to then on the last album putting together all those songs and writing everything myself. That was a lot of pressure, and I was really learning as I went. And I want the process when I go into writing for the next album to be a little bit different. I'd like to have a bit more confidence, actually a lot more confidence. Because when you're more confident, the sort of more wild ideas you have can actually be implemented. You don't have to sort of put things on the back burner. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve with the next one. So that's how I feel about that. As we continue to check out this track from Mr. Jason Becker. Hopefully you guys are digging this. There's a really cool video on YouTube of a 16-year-old girl covering this song. It's pretty incredible. She does a fantastic job with it. Let me see, I'll look it up so I can tell you guys. Her name is Tina S. It's got 4.7 million views. 16-year-old girl covering the song. She does just a bang-up job. So if you like this one, if you check out Jason Becker and you want a little more Jason Becker-ish content, watch that cover. I think you'll be impressed. I was. Reach over here. I have decided to bring myself a little glass of whiskey tonight. Had this sitting here for a while now. Just now having a sip. There we go. So yeah, I'm kind of letting all this stuff brew around in my head. It's like it would be cool to incorporate these sort of 80s pop, and then some of this, as some of you in the comments were talking about the stuff I played earlier being a little elevator-ish. It kind of falls into like the city pop genre from like late 70s and 80s Japanese music. Might give people a bit of some vaporwave vibes, possibly some future funk stuff. I just want the next thing to be wild. I want it to be a real fun album to listen to. So I have, I've got a lot of ideas, and I think it's going to be pretty neat, really. Okay, so those are some selections from 3 compact discs that I picked up recently, everyone. What else do I have here? Since I'm not doing the kind of daily videos, I'll just tell you about some other stuff I have sitting here that I've just picked up recently. Some new purchases. If you guys like hearing about purchases, do you guys like hearing about purchases? You want to hear what people are like into, what people are reading, and all that kind of jazz? I hope so, because I'm going to tell you right now, so hopefully this doesn't lose everyone. Hopefully you're waiting on the edge of your seat, just like, what's he going to tell us about? What kind of purchases has old Nicholas made? Well, I've got this here right now. I'm holding a hardcover. This is a hardcover edition of Stranger Things: The Other Side. And this is a graphic novel. This is a canon graphic novel set in the Stranger Things universe. I can tell you a little bit about this if you'd like. On the back, what we've got here, here's what you're looking at with this one. If you're a Stranger Things fan and you like graphic novels, if you like comic books, see how this hits you. See if you think this is interesting. The Upside Down, a place only seen before in psychic visions and nightmares. Will Byers doesn't know what to call the shadowy realm he finds himself in, but he is certain that he is alone and far away from anything close to safe. A strange, shrieking monster lurks around every corner, and familiar voices drift through the air from the other side. To survive, Will holds on to the lessons he's learned in the camaraderie of his friends and the hope that he can get back home to his family. Discover what happened to Will during the events of Season 1 of the hit Netflix series Stranger Things, penned by comics all-star Jodie Houser of Doctor Who, X-Files, Faith, and Mother Panic, with pencils by Stefano Martino, also of Doctor Who, and Angel Season 6. This special Barnes & Noble edition includes an exclusive gatefold pullout featuring Francisco Ruiz's connected back and cover art from issues 1 through 4 of the Stranger Things: The Other Side comics, and more. There we go. It's got this nice matte finish too. It's like a nice matte finish, and then sections of it are glossy. Like the title Stranger Things, it's in glossy print on the cover. You've got kind of this 80s art style featuring the kids, a close-up of Will kind of staring off into the distance, and then behind Will, the Demogorgon lurking ominously with its flower petally face flayed open. And then on the back, there's a little picture. The artwork on the inside it's not the greatest. It's not my favorite artwork by far. It's not, I would say it's, how would I describe it? I think the artwork in this is passable. That's how I would classify the artwork in this thing. Is passable. But I didn't really buy it for the artwork. The front does look cool. The front artwork is fantastic. The inside, not so much. But that's not why I bought it. I bought it because I'm what you might call a lore whore. I like to know the stories in depth. So I want to see what Will was up to when he was in the Upside Down, waiting for his buddies to save him. I want to know the story of that. That's why I purchased it. So if you also want to know, then perhaps you would like to pick up Stranger Things: The Upside Down, the graphic novel. Hallmark Channel Jeremy says, I honestly think YouTube gremlins are hiding some of my comments. Have you commented more? Are there other things that you've said? Have you tried getting my attention, Hallmark Channel Jeremy, and I've not seen it because of these YouTube gremlins? I wouldn't doubt it. They might be here just lurking my video just to fuck with me. I don't have to feel bad about saying that anymore, do I? Trying to play little shit games. Throwing little YouTube shits. Let's see. Hallmark Channel Jeremy also said that the Upside Down is Australia. How do you feel about that, Obi-Wan? Do you feel like you're in the Upside Down in Australia? Do you watch? Who all watches Stranger Things here? Let me know in the comments section if you guys watch Stranger Things. And if so, what did you think of Season 2? Did you like it better than Season 1? Are you excited for Season 3? I am. Speaking of Stranger Things, I've got another book here. This is not a graphic novel. This is actually the second Stranger Things full-size, not graphic novel, but regular book novel, written by Adam Christopher. This one is called Darkness on the Edge of Town. Like I said, this is the second Stranger Things novel. I've got the first one right over here that I'm currently reading. The first Stranger Things novel came out a couple months ago, and that is called Suspicious Minds. That is by Gwenda Bond. And Suspicious Minds tells the story of Eleven's mother, I believe. I haven't gotten too far into it. But it tells the story of Eleven's mother in MK Ultra, and also explores more of the history of Dr. Martin Brenner. So I want to talk about this when I get through it. And then, of course, I definitely want to talk about this next novel that I picked up when I get through that. This one is a bit beefier than the first Stranger Things novel. Let me see what we got here. Let me see how many pages this first novel is. This first one, Suspicious Minds, is 301. Are we good? Looked like we had a connection issue for a minute. The first one is 301 pages. And then this new one, Darkness on the Edge of Town, this one you're looking at a nice hefty 413 pages. So quite a few more pages on this new one that tells the story, I believe, of Hopper. In the summer of 1977, something very strange happened. So it's a Hopper book. You gotta love Hopper. Even though he didn't have a very good time with Hellboy, David Harbour, he didn't have a very good go of it with Hellboy, did he? That's too bad. Too bad. When I saw the first picture of him as Hellboy, I was like, you know what? I don't know why they're not just doing another Ron Perlman Hellboy. But I thought David Harbour looked good. He got in good shape, but they couldn't pull off the movie. The still picture looked cool, but then once that first trailer hit, it was like, nope, you missed the mark, guys. You didn't do a good job. They should have just gone back to Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro. That would have been a better move. And they kind of blew it. And now I don't know if we'll ever see another Hellboy movie with the way this last one flopped. Maybe there's still time for a Hellboy 3 featuring Ron Perlman. Maybe they can do that. I don't know if they'd go out on a limb and try it, though, with the way that last one hit the theaters. I don't know. Hallmark Channel Jeremy says, I have not seen Stranger Things, but from what I hear, I should. You absolutely should, especially if you have Netflix. I'm guessing you probably have Netflix. Most people have Netflix these days, don't they? I think we've reached that point in human history that we reached with cable at some point in the 90s. It was like you just assumed people had cable. If you went to a friend's house and you want to watch Nickelodeon, and he was like, oh, I don't have cable. You'd be like, what? You don't have cable? I feel like that's kind of where we are with Netflix now. It's like, oh yeah, just watch it on Netflix. Well, I actually don't have Netflix. What? You don't have Netflix? What's wrong with you? I think that's kind of the reaction that people who don't have Netflix get now. I feel like we've gotten there, I think. Oh, wow. See? Hallmark Channel Jeremy, no Netflix. See, I can do it right. Did you hear my reaction? Wow. You don't have Netflix? Man. I've had Netflix for a long time. I think I got Netflix when Blockbuster still had their service where you could, because they tried competing for a minute. They did a similar thing where you could have movies delivered. And that's how I used to do a lot of my Netflix stuff back in the day. Before the internet speeds were up to snuff everywhere, that's how they got started. People don't remember that. A lot of these young whippersnappers now, they probably don't even realize that when Netflix first got moving, the majority of people who were using that service were going online and they were picking out a DVD to have sent to their house. And then I think they offered a couple different plans. It's like different dollar amount. Then you could get 2 or 3 movies at a time, or there was an option for just one. And then you could have your queue up your movies in your online account. And then they would send you one, you watch it, put it back in the mail. And then when they receive that one back, they'd send you the next one that you have in line. But people don't even realize that that used to be the way that it worked. That was the majority of the Netflix experience. Because the internet was much more dicey 10 to 15 years ago. We've got it good now, but, once upon a time, I don't even know if they still have the DVD option or the Blu-ray option. I feel like they probably do, because not everyone, still there are places in the US where you can't get high-speed internet, where they're still using dial-up because that's all they have available. So, for those people, I feel like it would be worth having that DVD and Blu-ray option where you can get those sent to your house. I haven't looked. I haven't tried in years. I think just for shits and giggles, I'll have to look into that and see if it's actually still an option. I don't know. But I mean, that's how a few of those blockbusters stayed around for so long. And that's probably how a place like Hollywood Video stays in business too, because not everyone has reliable internet. And I just love going to the video store, man. Such a bummer that Blockbuster's not around, that Hollywood Video is not around. I mean, it's really an inconvenience for me to go to the video store now, to go to because the closest Hollywood Video to my house is like 35 or 40 minutes away. But every so often I will go. I'll take my boy so that he gets to experience the wonder of browsing the video store. It was like one of my favorite things to do as a kid. Go on Friday night, see the new releases, take your time browsing. My wife, Jess, used to hate going to Blockbuster with me because she would just zoom around the store, She just zoomed past so many different things, and it's like, no, you can't do that. You've got to take your time when you're browsing at the video store, because it's only when you take your time that you stumble upon like the just the shit-tastic gems that everyone else misses, because they're only looking at the movies that have 25 copies and several shelves taken up because it's the big new release and people just bounce from new release to new release, like the big new blockbusters. The real fun of going to the video store was looking for those knockoff movies, the knockoffs of the big blockbusters, things like Transmorphers, shit like that. That's where I discovered one of my favorite movies of all time. Children of the Living Dead was discovered that way. Just a shitty horror movie that my friend's mom rented for us. Totally unassuming. You never would have thought about it. Probably 99.99999% of people walked right past it and didn't even notice it. But if you take the time to look for those hidden gems, that's when you can have just years and years worth of inside jokes due to one stupid little movie you find by taking your time at the video store. And it's still worth going out and doing it, even if you have a little bit of a drive every now and then. Because I don't want to see a world with no video stores left. That idea just bums me right the fuck out. We need to be on guard against that. So if you have a video store nearby, even if you don't necessarily need it, go every now and again. Go and have a good time. Go grab a couple movies, grab some popcorn, get a few sodas, get some snacks, and go home and have an old-fashioned sit-down where you have your stack of movies and you watch as many as you can until you fall asleep, and then maybe you finish the one that you fell asleep during the next day, or maybe you don't. Maybe you take it back and then you don't go again for months. But just do it, man. You're going to have a good time. You're going to thank me. Oh, and Jess is here. She said some of us can speed read. It's not about speed reading. It's not about that. Okay? You might be able to speed read, but you can't speed digest the cover and the artwork or the back of a shitty VHS tape. Because that's part of it. It's the tactile experience, man. Walking around, something catches your eye. It's not about just reading the cover and be like, that sounds like a stupid title. Which, first of all, that's what you want. Second, once you find this stupid title, you've got to pick it up. You've got to hold it in your hand. You've got to flip it around a few times. You have to examine the artwork. You've got to turn it. You've got to read the back to see how shitty the synopsis is. You've got to look at the shitty little pictures to see how shitty the movie looks. Hours of life just thrown away standing in Blockbuster, my wife says. It's not thrown away at all. It's time well spent. It's time that I wouldn't trade for anything in this world, Jess. I wouldn't trade it in. It was not wasted at all. I wish I could still do it every Friday. But I can't because it's not practical. You know what? Maybe I should do it more often. That might be a good video series. Super Divorce goes to the video store. And do my weekly pickup. Couldn't be very fancy because I don't have time to edit videos. I just don't. I just can't do it. Not when I'm trying to learn all this stuff. Not when I'm trying to up my game, guys. I'd love to, but yeah. I can talk about stuff. That's easy. This is simple, because this is, I can get on here and do this. But it's the idea of editing together a bunch of shit, putting footage on the computer and finding footage and splicing it up and doing, I just can't do it right now. My wife said, I could have done so many things. We've wasted collective years in video stores. Well, I don't see it that way. She says she's joking. She loves all the things that we do, even when she's bored, because she's a sweetheart. She says, good night, everyone. So, I've got a few other things I guess I can tell you about. I don't know. I've got this. There's a cassette tape over here that I haven't even opened yet that I ordered. I'm not sure which one this is. Hear it? Hear that? I'm going to open this live on air right now and see what we've got here. Which cassette tape is this, I wonder? What is this? I like to order things and not follow the tracking information and not check up on them, because then you get something in the mail and you don't even remember what it was. And that's a nice surprise, I think. I'm a big fan of that. Some people sort of obsessively check their email for tracking information and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that, guys. I don't think that's the right way to do it. I don't think that's good at all. I think what you should do, make your purchase and forget about it. Move on. Make your purchase and move on with your life. And then when it arrives, you're stoked. You're jazzed. You're like, oh shit, I forgot about that. Another thing though, let me tell you this, you got to be careful. The mind can unravel the mysteries before you want them unraveled, you know. So what I'll have to do sometimes is something will arrive in the mail and I'll grab it because I don't know what it is, and I'll take it inside and open it as quickly as possible because I can feel it bubbling up. It's like, oh shit, I remember ordering something and I don't want to remember what it was before I open this package. And if you don't do it in time, you'll remember before you get it open. And that spoils the surprise, and it's not as fun. So this is... Oh, this is nice. This is the... Oh, hold on. Hold on a second. I got to get this open all the way. Pardon me. Whatever happened to Incubus, by the way? Remember that? Pardon me. Remember that song? Have any Incubus fans here? I don't really hear about them much anymore. Kind of faded away, didn't they? Kay says, that's an awesome quote. The mind can unravel mysteries before you want them unraveled. Yeah, I mean, it's true, isn't it? Sometimes you want that surprise, and then it's like, it just springs to the front of your consciousness, and it's like, damn it, I didn't ask for that. I was trying to avoid that, but, you know, I guess be thankful if your mind works, because not everyone's does. So this cassette tape has actually come with a little moon pendant on a black necklace. They've really done it up here. And it's good gosh. I don't even remember the name of this now, because it's all the writings in Japanese on this one, folks. But it's Sailor Moon themed. I can't remember the name of it. It's got Sailor Moon illustration on the front of the J card. And then the cassette tape itself is translucent. It's like a translucent gold, very light gold, with gold flakes in the plastic. And then the sort of tape wheels on the inside are yellow. And there's one sort of sticker going across one side of the tape that's sort of like a shimmery, it's like a shimmery gold menagerie. I don't even know how to describe it. Let me, you know what? You can hear the tape right here, right? What I'll do for you guys hopefully you're going to be able to hear this. I'll play this on my tape player so that you can have a little sample of this cassette tape that I've just received. Give me 1 second here. Let me just reach back. Just rearrange some things here. Pop open the tape player there. Put this bad boy in. It's all about the experience, you know? N says, future lyrics, Mr. K. Yeah, am I rattling off pieces of wisdom now? Is that what the whiskey does? I haven't had much at all, just a few sips. I'm trying to take my time here. All right, let me play this. See if you guys can hear the tunes. There we go. Is that coming through? Turn it up a little bit. Hear that in the background? Kind of the frenetic pace there. It's a good bass line. Okay, N says you can hear that. Let me see if I can... I'll fast forward a little bit to give you a bit more of... Oh. Let's keep it going. Well, seems to be having some issues. Sounds like my player's messed up. Let me see something here. Oh, there we go. So this is the other side. This is more chill. That's better. Nice and chill. There we go. Let me try and rewind that side and see how that does. I don't know what the problem was. It was like, I think it was definitely sped up previously. I don't know what the problem was. All I could make out was a nice bass thump in there. But this is cool. Like I said, it came with, it's got the Sailor Moon artwork, and then it came with a golden pouch. You can hear this pouch. And then it came with this necklace, the moon necklace. I don't know if I'll wear this. Maybe I will. I've actually never watched a single episode of Sailor Moon, but Sailor Moon is used in a lot of these, well, I've got the Sailor Wave 2 on cassette. I really love that. I love the music of the Sailor Wave series, even though I've never watched the show. I don't know if I should get into it, you know? Has anyone here ever watched Sailor Moon? Is it worth checking out, besides for the music? Now I have the Sailor Moon necklace. Maybe I should watch the show. Sounds pretty good. It's a good groove. I like that pretty well. Okay, so that's going on there. Oh. Probably wrap up pretty soon here. But I got a couple other things I suppose I can tell you about. I picked up well, by saying this, I'll probably get my channel deleted. Probably risking that. But I picked up two other books here. I picked up Mark Levin's new one called Unfreedom of the Press. I picked that up. And then that's really about the sort of state of the current lay of the land as pertains to the modern day media. Unfreedom of the Press is talking about the dangers of when the press stops reporting objectively and begins to take on an overly slanted view of the world. When the press begins to carry an agenda of its own. It's not good for the people. We'll say that. Unfreedom of the Press. If you never checked out Mark Levin, you probably should. It's one of my favorites. I love Mark Levin. He gets fired up. He's a good guy. Very, very knowledgeable. Very, very knowledgeable in constitutional law. Fantastic guy to listen to. Of course, if you're left-leaning, you might not like him so much. But then again, there are some left-leaning people who do like listening to guys like him because it sort of helps them to stay in touch with their opposition, which is kind of a smart thing to do. You want to know what the other side's saying. You don't want to sequester yourself. You don't want to sort of cloister yourself away into your own little echo chamber. It's good to keep up with what the people you disagree with have to say so that you can better formulate your own thoughts. There might be something that they say that actually makes you challenge your own beliefs. And that's a good thing to do because that can expose if you're carrying with you a belief that you have no basis or foundation for, which is not good. Yeah. In says that's literally what's happening today. Yeah, well, that's this book, Unfreedom of the Press, I was just mentioning, that it's kind of a response to the situation that we're in at the moment. And so his hope for this book is that it gets people talking and sort of opens a national dialogue and gets people to sort of realize really how dangerous it is when your press sort of begins to champion one particular agenda. And it's not, look, it's going to be impossible for the press or for anyone to be completely objective. I don't think that that's ever been the case. You know, things will always probably lean a little this way or a little that way, but if it begins to go too far in one direction, then that gets really dangerous. That's, like I said, that's where we are right now. That's where, I mean, that has a lot to do with why we see all this crazy stuff happening on social media, the stuff we were talking about earlier on YouTube. It all sort of ties back in together, and a lot of the attitudes that people carry with them are because of what they see on the news, because of what they read in the papers, because of what they read on their favorite news website. And people who aren't kind of tapped into this stuff, people who aren't internet savvy, who aren't going on message boards and such, people who aren't super invested in politics, they don't really dig in. They don't see how insidious this stuff is. They don't really understand the sort of the cabal of the press, and how all these people work together to push a particular view and push a particular narrative. And because they don't suspect anything, they just go to their trusted source. They think to themselves, "Oh well, the New York Times, that's a good source for the news. That's kind of a standard." Or MSNBC, "Oh yeah, they're pretty middle of the road. They're probably pretty objective." And then you find out that's not the case at all. Yeah, it's not good, guys. It's not good. Kay says, I listen to right-wing guys often. There's a few opinions where I can listen to, where I think maybe care to listen because I've heard what they have to say and don't think it's valid at all. That's on left and right. Like if someone's saying we should all be vegan, I CBA anymore. I don't know what CBA, I don't know what CBA is. I'm sorry. Maybe I can't be something I can't be asked anymore. Am I on the right track with that? If someone says we should be like Saudi Arabia and arrest gays, I won't listen because it's stupid. Yes, that's... Okay. There we go. I was on the right track there. Okay. But yeah. Can't be bothered. I got it. I put it together using context clues. I remember that from second grade. Your old context clues. That's something people have lost today. People don't understand the concept of context. Everything's taken so literally. That's why you can't joke about anything anymore. It's absurd. So the other book I picked up was The Right Side of History by Ben Shapiro. How Reason and Moral Purpose Made the West Great. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I like Ben Shapiro. I do. Some people on the right don't. Some like diehard. Look, I would say at this point I would consider myself a Trump supporter. I don't think it's good to be a Kool-Aid drinker for anyone. No one's beyond criticism. And some people are afraid to speak up if they disagree with anything that Trump says or anything that he does or any of his policies. Shapiro has been critical of Trump at certain points, and that causes some of Trump's more rabid fans to like accuse Shapiro of, being like a wolf in sheep's clothing or something, or he's not a real conservative because he disagrees with him from time to time. I think that that's what you need. I don't think that people who say stuff like that represent the majority of Trump supporters, that you have to agree with every single thing the guy says or does. I don't think that you shouldn't play that game politically, because then you get into like the cult of personality stuff, and you start following people blindly, and that gets very dangerous very quickly as well. So I think the best thing for people to do is to be responsible, free-thinking individuals and kind of let the chips fall where they may after that. See where you come down and whose side you're on generally after you've put in the work to sort of formulate your own thoughts, see where you stand on particular issues. And it's like you're never going to line up completely with one person. It's just, I don't think that if you really want that, I think you're going to be disappointed every single time. People are always going to let you down. So you kind of have to, I don't want to say choose the better of two evils. I don't think it's always that, but you're never going to find someone that you agree with 100% on every single issue. And you're never going to find someone who you can probably be proud of in every facet of their life, because people are people, as they say. People are flawed. People are going to make mistakes. So if you play that game and you try and act like this or that person is perfect, they're the ideal, they're infallible, and then it comes out that they did make a mistake, then you have to try and justify it somehow, and then you end up looking silly, and it's just stupid. It's better to say, yeah, well, I agree with him on this and this and this, but this thing he did was dumb, and I don't like it when he does this, and I disagree with him on this, and so on. But then you can still have your reasons why you generally throw your support behind that particular individual as opposed to the people who oppose them, your other alternatives. Hallmark Channel Jeremy says, love Trump, also love Shapiro and Crowder. Yeah, Crowder is great as well. That's why it's a shame to see what's happened to him in the past few days. But as I mentioned earlier, he is one of the smart ones, because he has used his position, he's used his celebrity on YouTube to build his own brand off of YouTube. I think anyone who is even semi-successful on this platform needs to take lessons from people like him. And Shapiro's done the same thing with the Daily Wire. It's like Shapiro has plenty of videos on YouTube, but this is not his main place. This is not where he's making all his money. He gets a lot of exposure on YouTube, and then he pulls people away from this platform, and they're able to support him in a more direct way through his own service. I would love to see that become like the new model. That would be cool. That might be kind of neat within the Comicsgate community too. Come to think of it, I don't know if anyone's thought of that. If any of the bigger names have considered doing something like that, it might be worth examining that sort of approach even within something like the Fandom Menace. And I know I'm not a super active member at this point, but I don't know if that conversation's taken place. It would be worth looking into, to maybe get a group of people together and figure out a way to produce a Fandom Menace app where people who love following this community could download the Fandom Menace app, and then right there when you open it, you would stream the videos from that service as opposed to streaming them through YouTube. Not to say that YouTube couldn't be a component, but again, it would be an exposure mechanism as opposed to the end in itself. So, I don't know. If anyone listening right now talks regularly to any of those people, or if you go into the other chats, that might be worth bringing up sometime. Maybe I will even message someone, I don't know, or contact one of those guys. Maybe the Rookie Critic. He's probably the one that I've talked to the most, and that still hasn't been many times. Or maybe Proper Jeremy. Proper shout out to Proper Jeremy, by the way. That might be kind of neat. Obi-Wan says Geeks and Gamers would be hoping they will become that, I would think. Yeah, that would be good. That would be smart. Especially, because I think they are in a position where, like, I really fear for that channel, because even though Geeks and Gamers has a lot of support, they don't have millions of viewers the way that someone like Crowder does. So if they just yanked Crowder off of YouTube, that would be like a huge story. If they did that to someone like Jeremy, a lot of people would be pissed off, but he's not gotten to that level where there are millions and millions of people who would go to bat for him. He just hasn't gotten to that point yet. And if things continue progressing the way that they are, you never know what's going to happen. They tried doing that to Jordan Peterson, like, I think about a year and a half ago, where he just he just woke up one day and his channel was gone. And luckily, like I said, he had already made it to that point where millions of people knew his name, and they started clamoring for an explanation, and he was able to get his channel back. But if he had only had maybe 100,000 or 200,000 followers, that's still, I think, that's still small enough, as much of an achievement as it is to have 100,000 followers on YouTube. You're still at a point where I think they can just put their thumb down and dictate your future. And maybe I'm wrong, but I would see that size channel as being at risk. Especially with the push, with the agenda being pushed by the sort of SJW culture within fandoms all across the board, within nerd culture, if you will. It seems like those people are able to get things done for some reason. As much as I hate it, they are able to get things done. They're able to get things changed. They're able to have these super large companies get behind them and champion their causes, when all it does time and time again is divide their fan bases and then eventually sort of leave them a husk of what they formerly were. That's why this stuff is so crazy. These people they make up such a small percentage of the population, but they're able to get things swayed in their favor time and time again because they make so much goddamn noise. And they're so fucking annoying. And they play these little guilt trip games. And they sort of are somehow able to trick entire swaths of people into thinking that they have the moral high ground. I think it's people who don't think about this shit very often. They're confronted by this mob, singled out over and over again. And then it's almost like it's like this just fucking oozy blob that slowly just rolls over top of the population, devouring one person at a time. And then they're sucked up into it and they become a part of it. And it's really a shame, It's too bad. But like I said, maybe people moving away from these centralized platforms and being successful on their own will be a wake-up call. If it started taking a lot of money away from YouTube, if they realize that they can get rid of these people without consequence, then maybe they stop doing it because they realize it's not worth anything. All it's doing is driving people away from signing up for their platform. It's driving future content creators away. If YouTube started to see people succeeding on their own outside of YouTube, then maybe that would be a step in the right direction. If it starts happening over and over again. As of right now, I feel like the people who have done that are almost like anomalies. But I think it's going to continue. I think it's going to happen more and more often. That's my hope. All right, guys. So I think that's going to about do it for tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back next week and do this again. Seems like we had about 8 strong hanging out for the entire time. So it doesn't seem like anyone got bored. That's good. Everyone hanging out, having fun. So perhaps I will come back and see you guys next week. Maybe not. I don't know. Just keep an eye on your alerts. And I'll get back in touch with you guys at some point. So thank you everyone for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Obi-Wan says, maybe come on Model Citizens next week. I do need to finish my van still, so maybe I will. Maybe I'll get in touch with JP about that. That could be something to do. By the way, real quick, before you guys go, does anyone here have Steam? And if so, do any of you play Counter-Strike or have Counter-Strike? You don't have to play it currently, but maybe you've had Counter-Strike Source at some point in the past. Because I've been playing a little bit recently, just for fun. If so, let me know. You can comment here or leave your comments in the comment section when the video is done, or holler at me on Twitter. Doesn't look like anyone has Steam or has Counter-Strike. That's okay. I just thought I would ask, just for fun. All right, well, if you are watching this at some point, and you wanna game up on Steam, maybe not even on Counter-Strike, if it's something else you want to play, holler at your boy. Just let me know on Twitter. Shoot me your Steam handle, and I'll give you a friend request. All right. Okay, everyone. Thanks again for being here, and I will talk to you guys at some point coming up. All right. Take care. Good night.